Welcome, everyone. This is the relay throw. This is episode 3.
That's right.
You haven't seen us in a bit. We had spring break. We had a jam-packed MAAC tournament, a jam-packed NCAA tournament. I mean, I'm sure if you go to school at Marist, if you know Marist, you know there's been some big events happening, not just with Marist, but with a certain team with a peacock mascot.
Our conference.
A team I
The
wrote
MAAC.
about, actually. I wrote the gamer against Marist, or one of them. So that was cool. But
Iconic.
I'm Dan Aulbach. You know me from various articles on the page and the other 2 episodes. I'm here with Andrew. How are you doing?
Dan, today has been a weird day. We're recording this on a gloomy Thursday.
It is gross.
It's disgusting. The drive home, there was, rain on and off, but the drive home, they were like, the clouds just opened up. They're like, oh, we just want all this rain to drop right on you during your commute, man. And it was a weird commute, but hey, we're home. We're recording at almost 9 p.m. It's perfect. We're here to talk Marist sports and the MAAC.
We got some good stuff in store for you guys today. We've been gone for a while. I personally have been battling a little bit of a cold. Took some Alka-Seltzer for this, so but I think my voice sounds fine. Crystal clear as always.
Beautiful.
But I appreciate it. We're gonna have it's just us this time.
Just us.
We want to get you guys back into the feeling of Marist sports. But we feel like we got a lot to talk about, and we're gonna give you this rundown. Anything you want to mention before we start?
No, we're jam-packed. We got to get right into it.
Yeah, let's get right into it. I'm going to give you the rundown of what we're talking about today. It was almost a month ago at this point, but we were in the MAAC tournament. Things did not go well. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about St. Peter's, because we owe St. Peter's a lot for the MAAC, and we're going to talk about Shaheen Holloway briefly. We're going to talk about what their victory means for our conference and moving forward.
How it helps Marist.
What helps Marist, more specifically. And then we're going to talk about, the aftermath of these 2 basketball seasons for men's and women's, where we're at with the transfer portal. I'm sure if you've been keeping up with Marist sports, you've heard a lot about it. On both the women's and men's side, it's been pretty brutal. But we also got some new signees to the men's team. So we're going to be talk about them for a little bit, what we need as a basketball team, with these losses. And then we're just going to talk about some sports we've covered this week and, call it a day.
Yeah.
So I think let's just jump right into it, shall we?
Do it.
The MAAC tournament. I was in here watching it, actually. I think the women's game was during one of my classes, so I didn't get to catch it.
Yeah.
But I caught the 4th quarter, which, at that point there wasn't much to watch.
I watched the beginning of that game in my car.
Yeah. We had really high hopes in our preview episode. Really just like positive aspirations. But
yeah,
once you go to school here and I got my first whiff, we're not that great in the MAAC tournament. I mean,
now you realize.
This is after, Jonathan, Christian, Leander, our professor, telling me and everyone that, like, don't get your hopes up. And we did. What happened was the women's team played their worst offensive game of the year.
Yeah. And no disrespect to the women at all. We didn't have as high hopes for them as we did for the men. I think the men is definitely the more disappointing outcome.
100%.
The women, although very disappointing the way they lost, getting absolutely torched.
Good way to put it.
Definitely not how you want to go out, but in the back of your mind, this was a possibility for this team that, it wasn't, out of left field. Like, you knew this could happen, and so,
I like the way you said that. it was very possible that this was going to happen. The injuries, obviously, we came to this. Trenasia Kennedy didn't play, which not fun. She puts up 10.6 points per game, so that's a big big spot of our offense already gone. And with Crick's performance in her last game, you hoped that would bring some momentum, and maybe it did for her. I mean, she had 10 points, which is a pretty solid offensive game. But the reality is, this team shot 1 for 22 from the arc, and 10 for 52 on field goals. That is, as Georgia said, today was the epitome of our year. So there's just no coming back from that. St. Peter's actually lost to 21 by Quinnipiac in the next stage. So, they, even if they moved on from us, they were not playing good basketball.
And I actually, sorry to interrupt, I also covered their regular season game against St. Peter's, in a game where St. Peter's committed 29 turnovers, by the way.
Oh my God.
Marist won that game 51-41. And their offense was not clicking. They weren't scoring off turnovers, and I had a feeling that St. Peter's, with their offense, the way they played throughout the year, because they have some 15-point per game scorers on that team. I was just like, that can't happen again from St. Peter's. I thought they were gonna win this game pretty handily, based on how disappointed they were during their last meeting in McCann. So, good job by them. Ultimately, not a good job by them against Quinnipiac, but against Marist, good game.
Yeah, and the only thing you can say here is, this maybe to this degree wasn't expected, but there was definitely a big possibility of a loss. And with how this whole season's gone, I mean, Jonathan put it that way. This has been not a great season for the program at all. All you can hope is that for next year, Georgia's last year, right? You gotta, swish it away. High hopes. Take something out of it and just move on, because there is no point dwelling on this game. And this team should not score under 30 points in basketball game ever again.
No.
So
a 4-quarter basketball game.
Exactly.
On the women's side.
You should be scoring, I mean, like I said, our athletes are incredible. But you cannot be scoring. It's just they weren't getting shots down. I mean, that's the reality of it.
And good looks.
Yeah.
Good looks throughout.
And to be honest, that's what happened in the men's game too. They maybe, obviously you said more disappointing, but they weren't getting any shots down. They were only down at 6 at half, and they ended up losing by 25.
So before we get to the men, I feel like it's important to talk about the transfers from the women's team, because there are going to be 4 of them, and they're pretty big losses throughout.
That's one way to put it.
One way. First, the first being arguably the team's leader, Trenasia Kennedy, or at least this past team's leader. She was a junior this year, and she's played all her years at Marist. Coach George's recruit, of course. It's just an unfortunate loss, and you got a preview of life without Trenasia Kennedy during the MAAC tournament.
Yeah,
and
100%. Our team's second best scorer, 10.6 per game. Pretty solid field goal percentage. Just somebody you could get the ball to. Something that it looked like we could get the ball to next year. But like you said, we were talking about this earlier. You can't blame her.
No,
you can't blame any of these transfers. So it's unfortunate, but it's just how it is.
Yeah, she was probably their best in-game ISO scorer. Get the ball in her hands, and she'll try her best to put it in the basket and get a good look. So unfortunate for them. Next transfer, Sarah Barcelo. Unlike TK, this was somewhat expected, I think. She's going to San Diego State. That's confirmed already. Now her family's out in the West Coast. All her family, so her sister and her brother play at BYU. So I think this is more a family move. I don't want to speculate anymore on that, but she hadn't played all year from off-season surgery. So
Yeah, I feel like after injury years, it seems like, the popular move is to transfer.
but 2 seasons ago, she was a big part of why this women's team made the NCAA tournament, and it's definitely a big loss not having her this year. But
yeah, definitely one of the losses that contributed to this just mess of season.
Next is Emma Wax. Now she didn't get as much playing time as the other transfers on this list. So I think this is. I'm gonna speculate and say this is a playing time move.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected. She's just sophomore 5'10" guard from Jersey, so pretty close. But yeah, like you said, definitely a playing time move. Didn't get too many minutes. Probably averaging 10, 15 minutes a game. Getting more minutes at the beginning of the year too. So
yeah, diminished role throughout the year.
Yeah. And then there was one more.
Yep, Annabelle Ellison, which that's the second most shocking transfer in this list behind TK. She started out as reserve, and then when Kiara Fisher got hurt, our own transfer from Syracuse, Annabelle took the starting guard role, and she did a great job this season.
Second half of the season, she was, fairly efficient.
Yep. And she was starting, and she had great aggressiveness on defense throughout the year. So it's sad to see her go too. It's sad to see all these women go because they all, had a good part in making this team.
Yeah, definitely kind of a reverse progression from Emma Wax. She got more playing minutes, Wax got less, and you just never know unless you talk to them why they're making their moves. But I'm sure with a coach like George's, it's not going to be out of spite.
No, absolutely not. Not suggesting that one bit.
Exactly. So it's just how the business works. This is a business. Yep. It's a collegiate business, and especially with this new transfer rule, it's going to happen.
It's transfer portal. It's becoming a lot like free agency, and I know this has been reiterated through many college sites. It's becoming a lot like professional free agency. Whether that's for good, for the bad. That's what it's becoming, and just got to live with it at a smaller college. So
yeah, and we're gonna talk about it. The men's side. Holy,
oh my god!
I came into this middle of the year like we have a good core. We can build on this. And with the recent news of Zhao, I don't know if I don't think I was shocked. I think I was in denial. It's because when everyone else left, I was like, well, maybe he'll stay now. But let's just get right into it.
Yeah, let's talk about the men's outcome first, and then
they lost by 25 to Quinnipiac.
Yeah,
that's all we'll say. There's not much else to say. I was watching this game, and it got more and more disappointing as it went on, and they just completely shut down our best offense. Desi Jones had 20, Rigoni at 26. Those are two very good scores for Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac has had a weird year. They were definitely not playing like a last seed. The last matchup,
great run in the tournament.
And the last matchup we played against them, we only won by 1. So
yeah,
it was going to be a tough matchup. We were 2 for 17 on threes. So do the math on the combined. What were we 3 for 40? Yeah. So, and then 4 for 10 on free throws. We didn't really get many looks. So, and Jal only had 8. They just shut us down. They that's all they did. And, after that, we got to see a team from the MAAC blossom into a beautiful bird with many, many feathers.
Many different colors.
Blue and green mostly. the St. Peter's Peacocks, who I called to win the MAAC tournament. I am going to reiterate this. I think my quote, I don't know what my exact quote was, but I will forever be enshrined in this podcast. I'm going to take my reward and my title.
Yeah. You got one pick right. Yeah.
One pick right. For the freshman, I had that instinct. I picked St. Peter's mostly because I watched them play. And when I saw them play, I mean, they looked scrappy. They looked like they could really shake a team's offense up, which they did when they played Marist. They just fourth quarter, Marist ran out of energy. If you told me they were going to beat Kentucky, who I had winning in one of my brackets, by the way,
and my Final Four.
That sucks. It's funny as a joke. I had 4 brackets this year. The Kentucky one, that wasn't a serious bracket. It was more of a just a casual one. But I had a bracket where I had St. Peter's going 2 rounds, and holy, I just cannot believe. I'm in shock. I'm sure you are too, and not just because of what they did, because what they did was incredible, led by Indefo and Doug Eatert, and Banks.
Good,
so good.
And it's funny because we have a Centerfield group chat and all the writers, and we were talking that night okay, how much is St. Peter's gonna lose by? Jonathan said 40. I think I upped him with 50.
It was one of my best friend's birthdays, and he had Kentucky winning, and I felt so bad. It's just and yeah, everyone was like Kentucky by 20, 25. This was the worst. I'm a part of St. Peter's. St. Peter's was the worst 15 seed. You have to, coming into the tournament, you have to realize that. And it's not because they weren't playing bad. It's because their basketball budget compared to all of these schools, I think the numbers are incredible. A quote I stole from this ESPN article about kind of the intake that St. Peter's is going to get from this success. St. Peter's has beaten number 2 Kentucky, number 7 Murray State, and number 3 Purdue, which is remarkable considering St. Peter's spent $130 million less on athletics last year than Kentucky. Just Kentucky. Their athletic director said the school's basketball operating budget, which does not include coaching salaries, is less than $250,000 and is the lowest in the MAAC. You have to realize that the MAAC is not. We are a low major to mid major.
Oh, we're mid major. Let's not go that low. We're mid major.
Okay. I thought we were mid major too, and then when I started making my MAAC or my NCAA predictions, some ESPN writers called us a low major, and I took a little shot. That's a
shot.
A piece of it.
We're a mid major.
We're a mid major, and
we're using we're not real.
Yeah, we're a mid major.
We're not biased, guys. We're not biased.
I think everyone at this college at Marist was rooting for St. Peter's because there is still good basketball being played in the MAAC, and I am so glad that they opened the eyes for everyone in the NCAA, and they did that through unconventional coaching. I don't know if you saw during the Purdue game. I think they swapped five players for 5 players. Yes. I don't know if they did that in the other games.
Changed. They did that against UNC too.
That was awesome. Yep. You cannot. I mean, all these high majors are looking like, what do we even do?
Well, and they have depth. They have legitimate depth.
So, yeah.
Why not? Why not? So no, very neat.
And if you're wondering, this money that they're going to get, which is up in the air, it's going to be distributed to the MAAC over the next 6 years, not just St. Peter's to the MAAC.
And when it's distributed to the MAAC then distributes that to all its member schools. So Marist gets a little share,
which is pretty funny because we did nothing. I think what we did do is we lost to Quinnipiac. We would have been a tough opponent for St. Peter's, so we kind of gave them a little, you're welcome for losing. So we didn't have to face you guys. No, this is huge for the MAAC. I think St. Peter's social media account, it blew up. I think they went up 10,000 followers.
They got
In
verified.
like the first hour. Yep, they got verified, which was huge. But and people were like, "Oh, they're gonna go one round." No, they went 3 against 2 certified bona fide programs and the school where John Morant's from.
Well,
So.
not just that. Here, Kentucky, Final Four favorite. Murray
Mhm.
State, best record in the NCAA this year, entering that game at 31-2. They only had 2 losses. Third against the MAAC. Purdue, Jaden Ivey.
Oh man,
What can you say about that kid? He's gonna be top 4, maybe even number 1 in the NBA draft this year. They have a 7'4" player,
300 pounds.
Zach Edey, while St. Peter's tallest player is 6'10" or 6'10" in Diame.
What in Defo, right? Yeah.
No, Diame. Diame.
Oh yeah.
He's coming off the bench, and Defo's 6'7".
Yeah.
But Edey still ended up with only 2 rebounds.
I know.
That shows the grit St. Peter's grit played with. I know that's a cliche, but they really do play with a toughness that I think shocked. I think Kentucky, it shocked Murray State, shocked Purdue. UNC came ready though. They came ready for that.
They, just the way UNC beat up on Baylor and that before they almost blew the lead. That was, that was another great game in this tournament. UNC has been after Duke. They really, you can tell they wanted Duke, and St. Peter's was pesky, and honestly, they were playing like a 10 under seed, against these teams. You had to consider them that when they were playing UNC. They didn't play a terrible basketball game against UNC.
Like Marist, they just couldn't hit their open looks early.
Couldn't hit the shots.
Drilled their confidence.
But I think just the last thing we're gonna say, or I'm gonna say, congrats to Shaheen Holloway. He led this group of guys from the MAAC to, probably a highlight in their lifetimes. Just 15 guys from Jersey City, speed up on all these teams, and we are in debt to them, because I'm gonna hope that this conference gets more attention, publicity. People are always going to remember St. Peter's now. It's right up there with the UMBC upset. Probably even.
I think it's even greater.
It's even greater.
This is the greatest Cinderella run in NCAA history, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
People might say VCU going to the Final Four.
Yeah, that Syracuse run.
I think,
but
you talked about the program size though. Syracuse, you expect that. It's a big time basketball school. You expect them to go to the Final Four. St. Peter's going to the Elite Eight. I think that's the most impressive run any team's ever made in the NCAA tournament.
This is a team that had a lower budget than John Dunn's contract. By a significant amount. You cannot look at that and say, wow, that is not that great. This is amazing. And we are, like I said, we're forever in debt. The school is forever in debt. So, but moving on. Yeah, for the money. Thanks for the money. Which it's going to be interesting to see if St. Peter's, because I know that obviously they want a little more of the pot, because they did do it for the whole conference, but it's the NCAA.
At least $1. Thanks for $1.
It's the NCAA, man. So but anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
While this tournament run was going on, after we got back from spring break, then came the men's transfers. You want to go over who just fire them all up.
So first we had Raheem Sullivan, who, was our 6th man. He started off some games. I believe he was perfect in our 6-man role behind Zhao. Once Dunn realized Zhao has to start. Raheem had a great role as a 6-man, and he was shooting the ball 41% from 3.
Yeah,
definitely our best 3-point shooter. Sad to see him go. He transferred in from a community college. This is his 2nd transfer, and so he was the first to go. Second, was Braden Bell's. Well, Braden Bell transferred. I don't remember if he was second or third.
Mm-hmm.
Bell's been here all
His whole
3
career.
years.
Yeah.
All 4 years. I forget if he's a senior. Is he junior or
I
senior?
think this is he's going to get his graduate student eligibility next year,
Okay.
along with Raheem Sullivan, is what I read. So when you put that into perspective, that this is going to be Bell and Sullivan's last year to play somewhere, I don't blame them for transferring. These are guys that, obviously I think Raheem was battling a midseason injury, but maybe he'll get some more playing time somewhere else. He's obviously not transferring to a high major. He's going to transfer somewhere where he's going to get some more minutes, which I'm sure we would have given him minutes if he stayed, but Bell definitely will get some more minutes when he leaves.
That's why I was confused. Bell's a senior who played since the 2019-20 season.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Okay.
He played 3 years here. But yeah, so he'll be gone. Sullivan will be gone. Matt Harassman will also be gone as a graduate transfer. He's a guy who played all 4 years. He was John Dunn's first recruit at Marist. He originally committed to St. Peter's, where Dunn was before.
Yes.
Or at least he was leaning heavily towards St. Peter's. Then once Dunn was hired to Marist, he followed Dunn to Marist. And rest is history.
He was, Christian mentioned this. He was a huge part to this lineup this year.
The best perimeter defender.
Yeah, best defender. And the numbers don't. The stat sheets on the MAAC websites don't show this, but you really have to go to a Marist basketball game to see his impact. And he had his energy too. He had this energy. Yeah, really glad. He was he back for that senior night game? Yeah, he was. He played in that senior night game, which was huge. That was, the best one of the year. It's tough. I really like him for the spirit of the Red Foxes in general. And then, more potential losses. Or no, not potential losses.
Oh no, definite losses.
Definite losses.
Some definite losses here.
Sam Kello.
Yep, Sele's gone. Another graduate. This is, I believe, going to be his. Don't quote me on the 6th year. Yeah, he's heading into. So he's gone. This was his only season at Marist.
The Southern transfer.
Yep, and then 2 heavy hitters here. Ricardo Wright, who played his first 2 years here. He had a great year this year as a scorer, 13.6 points per game. So he's gone. And then our guy,
rest in peace.
Tuca.
Like I said, I was in denial, I think, that he wasn't going to transfer. And then the news came out for us like this prior week. So you saw it and you were just like, well, new program. This is going to look completely different next year.
6 players. 6 players.
Jordan Jones is gone.
Yep.
So our forwards are gone. Our top 2 scorers are gone. Our best, Jordan Jones is gone, who was our center. He was our guy.
6-man's gone.
Yep, our 6-man's gone. So, and he, an efficient
Victor Eno's gone.
Victor Eno's gone.
Graduated. Yep.
So you're left with Noah Harris, Javon Cooley, Bocelli, Belton. Yep. And it's giddy up, This is going to look like a completely new program. But let's talk about Zhao. We're not going to be talking about Zhao very much going on. But we owe him our props, because if anyone deserves to transfer out of these guys, it's him. He is gonna. We can't. We were talking about this too. We have no idea where he's gonna go. He could go anywhere at this point, and I wouldn't be shocked. But he was just a dominant scorer and a athletic freak inside the paint, and I could argue that he was the reason why there were a lot of Marist students coming out to these games. And we're going to have to, when all these guys were leaving, I was like, well, maybe our recruiting staff is going to build around Joe. And that's just not the case anymore.
He was by far the MAAC Rookie of the Year.
No contest.
He's on top freshman lists for awards across the country. So
he's on a list with Chet. He's on a list with Paulo. He's on a list with Jaden Ivey, right?
Jaden Ivey's a sophomore.
Okay. Well, he's on a list with the top players in the league, in the nation. I mean, that's incredible. And I know this is obviously recognized, this award recognizes centers freshmen from most divisions, but he's one of the best freshmen in this nation. I congratulate him. I think he's going to, I hope he's still successful because he's going to be playing defenses that have these giants that were not in the MAAC.
You have a feeling he's going to a much bigger school. I just have a strange feeling about that. He hasn't officially announced where he's going. We're not going to speculate where.
We can't speculate. The only thing we can speculate is, he's from DC, maybe somewhere there, closer to there, or bigger, better things. That's the only thing you can say. But
Marist has some freshmen coming in. They have a solid recruiting class coming in.
I agree.
They got Isaiah Brickner.
Yep, Trey Sultan,
and then
my guy. This is my guy. I don't know him. Matthew McCool. McCool, if you're listening, hi, Matthew McCool. First off,
what a name!
This is the best basketball name that Marist will have, maybe ever. So thank you for giving us that. Second off, Matthew McCool is a 6'7" forward from New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire. It's the middle of nowhere, but it's New Hampshire. He is 10 minutes away from my hometown. So for me, I saw it. Someone sent it in the Centerfield group chat. I did a double take. I was like, no way. I probably saw him play and didn't realize it. I was talking to some buddies back home that were on my high school team. They played against him. He's a dog. I mean, he's a 6'7" forward. He's big. I was watching some of his tapes before we recorded. He's just, he's a big body. He's a big body forward. We recruited 2 small forwards, but he's 6'7", and he's just gonna. I think he'll be a good, big body for us. As far as player comparison to who we lost, maybe like a Braden Bell, just a big body. I think it's going to be, it's looking like a good signing. 2-star recruit.
Yep. And I saw a few verified accounts praising the Brickner move. And
from the Bay Area.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's not unheard of to have Californians come to Marist. In fact, there's a lot of Californians at Marist. And which
100%.
It took me off guard at first. I was like, oh wow, like a lot of people coming coast to coast, but it makes sense. Different atmosphere. But
this is Isaiah Brickner. He's from Sunrise Christian, hometown, San Diego, correct?
Yeah.
6'4" guard. I think Verbal Commits has him listed as a point guard. But he can play both guard positions.
He's a combo guard.
Yeah, we didn't have a true point guard last year either, really. So we're not a stranger to, and I feel like high school commits aren't being strangers to a combo guard. Watching his clips, just a 5-tool guard, can get inside really good at getting inside. Got some hops. He's got a good layup package.
Always looking out for the layup package.
I love some layup packages. Maybe this is, in reality, this might be our Jared replacement. Maybe not to that degree. That's and that's high praise. But we need someone again that can get past those screens and get inside and maybe put some finesse on it. So
Yeah, and Trey Salton. I also saw a few verified accounts praise that. So it's been a good recruiting class. Marist, they aren't going to get, they're new to this. They're not going to get the 4 stars. They're not going to get the 5 stars.
No.
But overall, a good recruiting class for what they could do. And
most recruits,
so far,
most schools across the country average at a 2-star recruit. Yeah. We're like, I think our average is like 2.2. And then anywhere in the mid majors, it kind of varies from 2 to 3. These are the guys we're going to get. And you got to hope they want to play here.
Yeah.
Especially after this year.
To bring it all.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. And I was talking, I hope we look at the transfer portal.
Oh, we have to. Both sides.
We have to, because we need some veterans bad. We're going to have no veterans next year, if I'm not mistaken. Well, and Cooley, right? Well,
he'll be a junior.
Yeah. So Cooley, let's call it a Cooley, because Harris and Belton were. Yeah.
Tom, our favorite walk-on.
Yes.
No
he's got
Terrence Eccles. No disrespect.
Not at all.
I'm only saying that because I interviewed Tom.
Love Eccles.
But yeah, he'll be back.
Eccles,
and guy who graduated, he'll be gone too.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be a very diminished roster compared to this year.
Yeah.
A lot of youth, and we'll just have to see how that goes. And typically, with Marist and for a lot of college programs, youth means struggle. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Next year. Hope they can.
And not only is it youth, it's even if we get veterans, they haven't played at Marist.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely,
it's gonna require a lot of meshing. And I really I keep turning off this light. With this transfer portal stuff, which is relatively new, with the rule change in 2021, you have to hope that Marist reverse poaches and get some guys from bigger schools that aren't getting much playing time.
Explain the rule change real quick.
This rule change is it's the one-time transfer rule. So took effect April 2021. So it's new. According to bestcolleges.com, it allows athletes to transfer to a different school one time and play immediately. So it's free agency. This is free agency for the entire Division I of basketball, any division of basketball. But
the way it worked before, they would transfer and then they'd have to wait a year, and then they could play the following year.
But what this is going to allow is we're going to see it so much, and there's no changing it. This I'm pretty sure was wanting to be happen for a while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is you. Shout out to Jonathan. We're going to mention his. I'm just going to mention his transfer portal article real quick. I'll shout it out right now since we're talking about it. On the Centerfield website, it's called "In the Era of Transfer Portal, It's Adapt or Die," and that's perfect title, because this is not going to change anytime soon. And not only are the high majors adapting, but we have to adapt. Mm-hmm. We are going to have to A, get our recruiting up, and B, I mean, we have to reverse poach. Because that's pretty much we're pretty much a farm team for all these.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have this isn't by means no slander to Zhao, because I think he's playing the game right to get more exposure. If his end goal 100%. Is to make it to the NBA, absolutely, you got to go to a bigger school. I agree. Mm-hmm. It's just you're gonna see a lot more one and dones, and not the sense of one and dones from college to NBA, but one and dones from mid majors to high major schools, Power 5 schools, Group of 5 schools. You're gonna see a lot more of that, I think, going on, and it's gonna affect out programs like Marist. Marist has to just be on top of their recruiting, and they have to understand that this is gonna happen, so they have to be on their heels.
I accidentally bought a subscription to The Athletic this year, but I found an article. If you don't know, The Athletic's like $70 a year. I accidentally bought it, thought I was getting a free trial. Wrong. But
$1
it's got great. Yeah. It comes with great articles, and I was referred to this article about the transfers. And there's a section talking about how it's going to affect high school recruiting. And there's this quote: "If you're a local high school kid and you get a D1 offer, you better take it. If you're not a top 50 kid and you have an offer, take it. Because you have that ability to play a year and get better." Zhao was, there's all the stuff with COVID, and maybe he didn't get scouted properly, but he plays at Marist, and he's clearly better than these 2-star recruits, and he's gonna only get better. So he played the game right for the first year of this rule. He played the game exactly how he should, and we wish him the best.
Yeah, no, and this is by no means any slander to any of the transfers.
100%.
Just absolutely, they're given a new set of rules and they're taking advantage of it, and that's the way it should be. So,
to quote Jonathan, the guru, as we call him on this pod,
the guru.
At the mid-major level, we've reached an adapt or die situation regarding the transfer portal. Many people, myself included, said Jonathan, don't like it, but the reality is that it's here to stay, and right now there is a lot of an adapting to do in Poughkeepsie. We are gonna, I think, as a college and as a conference, especially because there's going to be transfers in and out of this conference. Yeah. Everywhere, every conference. We are going to have to adapt. We're going to have to learn how to play with a young team. We're going to have to learn how to potentially let go of our best players, which is insane because unless you're, Rick Smits, you're not going to the NBA. Yeah. Unless you're Rick Smits, you're not going to the NBA if you stay at Marist. You want to get some, especially with social media and, just how college players are looked at, they're going to transfer. It's going to happen.
For a new game.
100%. And I think that's all we got for basketball because that's what's happened. A lot of excitement in the MAAC, but also not a lot of excitement for us in terms of the transfers, but it's the reality and we're here to report on it. So let's move on. It's been a weird 3 weeks because of all the basketball stuff, but Andrew and I have certainly bounced around in our reporting here at Marist. You had the opportunity to do some women's lacrosse, I believe.
I did have the great honor covering lacrosse.
He did, and I got to do some baseball. Baseball played a series against Fairfield. This was, I don't know what weekend this is. Pardon me, because this episode is not going to come out right away. The weekend of the 26th, from the 25th to the 27th, they played Fairfield. This is my first viewing experience of the baseball team. I loved it, except for it was Saturday and they moved the game from 1 to 11 for rain. So I was like, oh, well, that's fine. It was cold, so I was only wearing a sweatshirt. I was freezing because the wind started. As soon as the national anthem started, rain pouring down. I was under the tent with all the athletic guys. But it was cold, but it was a cool experience. And, a Rubio Candelario was on the mound, which is
it's
just a cool thing because, MLB The Show comes out tonight.
Hey.
Maybe I've used his brother in the show, and his brother is a bona fide MLB player, and you could definitely just see, excuse me, the baseball gene. It's a genetic sport. He had the fire. He throws, I think 92. He's topping out at a great start. They won that game using only 2 pitchers.
In 92 in the cold, and he's more in warm weather. He can hit 95 plus. His arm's capable.
Yeah.
So just in that cold weather, going 92 in college. So.
Yeah. This is Marist's home debut series, so that was another cool thing to do. You can't play in Poughkeepsie in early March, which is why they do all that moving around. And they won this game. They lost the first game of the series. They lost in extra innings, 10-13, and used a lot of pitching. This game, they had 2. Rubio, I think he went 5 2/3. and he had a strikeout in every inning except his last. And then Brian Yetter got the win in this game because it was a pitcher's duel to start, and he looked great out of the pen. Like I said, I'm still getting adjusted to this roster. He had 4 strikeouts, 2 hits, 1 run allowed. Really had a great outing for the pen. When I was talking to coach, it's exactly what they wanted. They didn't win this final game of the series, but playing baseball in March is so tough. It's spring training for us again, but we're playing Fairfield, so it was a good way to, gauge how we're going to face these opponents in the MAAC. And then on the offense side of things, Noriega, who has the best walk-up song of anyone on the Marist team. I'm sorry, I'm not a country music fan. More of a partial. Like I like the hits, but Noriega had a song that everyone clapping along to. Oh, it was great. He had a great offensive day too. Yeah.
What would your walk-up song be?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, that's a really good question. I've never been asked that.
Tell you what, mine's Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Oh, okay, that's solid. I feel like that's a bullpen. You'd be a bullpen arm,
Oh yeah, bullpen that's arm. Electric, gotta go 99 plus.
100%. I mean, you're gonna have to make me look at my playlist, but what comes up for me is "Power" by Kanye, just as a staple.
Good choice.
Trying to think of some others. Give me a second. Let me just go to my playlist real quick.
This deserves all the attention in the world.
Oh, I know. Trust me, especially as Trademark USA, Baby Keem. I'm a big Baby Keem fan, or Family Ties, Baby Keem. So I'm playing MLB The Show. It's a lot. The soundtrack's pretty rap heavy. Oh wait, also this song from MLB The Show 16, Classic Man with Kendrick. That one, like that goes on. I'm like instantly, it takes me back 5 years. Yes, I think that'd be my song. But anyway, Noriega, back to baseball. Noriega, great game, 2 for 4, had a double. Donnie Stone had another good offensive game, 2 for 3. Walked once, brought in a run. Hoy, our shortstop, our great shortstop. 2 RBI game. Everyone got a hit other than one of the Armitage brothers and I'm gonna butcher his last name. Our first baseman, Cap, as they called him around the field the other day.
Justin.
Yes. J Cap. Yes.
From freshman year.
Oh, there we go. See, that helps out. That helps out a lot.
I think that's how he.
If you're listening, sorry. But yeah, they played a great game, and I am going to be excited to watch. Baseball. MLB is only on in a week. I'm going to be excited to watch. Get all that baseball content. Especially watching this team. It's going to be fun to cover, and we're definitely going to talk about it a lot more as the month progresses.
And why not? We'll talk about women's lacrosse.
Let's do it.
I had the great honor of covering the Marist women's lacrosse game. This was the first time covering a lacrosse game.
There we go.
Neat for me.
Love that experience. I commend you because I really want to get out there and do some sports that I'm not really familiar to.
But my highest level of experience in playing lacrosse was gym class in 7th, probably 8th grade.
Attaboy.
Learn how to cradle.
Yeah, I don't even know if I learned how to cradle. I remember picking up a stick at recess one point. So
I got hit in the groin. Crossball.
Oh my god, Andrew.
Fun times. Had to do some MMA stretches to heal those.
Oh, well, hopefully this game was a more enjoyable experience.
I was far away, so I didn't get hit in that area. It's okay. We're fine.
There we go.
I was in the press box. But cloudy day, and unfortunately for Marist, they were going against the reigning, defending, undisputed USA Lacrosse Magazine Division I Player of the Week, Mary Ceres of Siena.
Really?
I'm just gonna read off names from this list of schools: Syracuse, Duke, Maryland, Colorado, Denver, Stanford, Siena.
The MAAC is on the map.
MAAC is on the map.
That is our catchphrase on this podcast. The MAAC is on the
That's
map.
gonna be the title.
Wow,
I'm making that the title.
Do it.
MAAC is on the map. No, so and that came after a 9-goal game against Iona, which was a Siena program record. So
it's a triple hat trick right there.
Triple hat trick. So Marist was expecting that, and Ceres, I'd say she kind of scored 5 goals in the first half.
Wow.
So she started off very hot, but it was actually alternating. Marist, okay, so a little bit of context of Marist women's lacrosse season. Entering this game, they were 2-7. They've been struggling to score. They'd only hit the 10-point mark 3 times in their 9 games. So, and they'd won 2 of those. So usually it bodes success when they score 10 or more goals, which they did in this game. Final score 15-11. Yeah, scored 50. And you know, they had their MAAC opener this past Saturday, or March 26th. Then March 26th against Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac demolished me, 19-7. Not a good game defensively, and they were rushing it on offense. It seemed couldn't get any good cohesive sets going, and their offense was better against Siena. Like I said, in the second quarter, they were alternating goals. They were going head to head of Siena. They were only down by 3 at halftime. In fact, Marist scored 6 goals by halftime. That was almost their total mark from the previous game. So they were going crazy. They scored in the first minute of the game. A good offensive showing. A positive in that respect. And in terms of Mary Ceres, in the second half, she only had 1 goal. So they did a better job of containing her. And as Coach Wilkinson said, Coach Jessica Wilkinson, women's lacrosse team, they played better man-to-man defense. As the game progressed, they were able to contain the rest and keep it close. They only lost by 4.
Well, you can take some positives from that game, definitely.
Absolutely.
Because
only lost by 4 against Siena, who, while they're not having like an excellent season, now they're like 6-5. They are an offensively dominant team. Like, they've had a lot of high scoring games.
So, yeah, I mean, you made it sound like they have the DeMar DeRozan of lacrosse. So
Mary Ceres is insane.
Yeah,
it
must have been cool to watch.
I had the great opportunity of interviewing Chloe Monroe afterwards for Marist. Started this game, and I had to ask her because Ceres, I was like, I can't imagine seeing anyone stop this. Like, I can't really blame you. Like, this, she was attacking from all angles. Like, Mike Ferraro, who is, an SID here at Marist, he was calling the game on ESPN Plus, and where you are in the press box, you're very close, and you could hear him. He's like, the momentum of Ceres, she's going going to the right, but sharply turning to the left and whipping her stick across for a quick, fastball into the net. And she's attacking at every angle possible. They're setting her up and great looks, and it was just, it was a tough scene in the first half, and but it's definitely a positive sign to see that they only allowed 1 goal from her second.
Dare I say, future lacrosse writer Andrew Hard. It sounds like you love this, and
it was electric.
Shout out Mary Ceres, because that sounded like
Mary Ceres.
One hell of a performance. Shout out Marist Lacrosse for defending her pretty well in the second half.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing this team. I got to get more to the lacrosse scene.
Well, it was also their Pride night.
Good.
And by the way, this was Wednesday, March 30th. Chloe Monroe, herself, who started this game, is part of the LGBT. She and her teammates, along with the MAAC Student Athlete Advisory Council, helped set up this Pride Night. For the game, it came out these special warm-up shirts that had MAAC Pride. Pride was in rainbow font across their back, and they've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, but they've been silenced from COVID. They couldn't show off an outing like this, and they finally got the opportunity. So, and Coach Wilkinson was proud, very proud of her team setting this up, and she in fact she was holding back tears during her interview afterwards.
Oh.
You could tell that this team is very close, and they all want to represent for
each other
and their communities. So
shout out Marist Lacrosse.
Shout out to them. Good on them. Team of the week.
I wish I saw that, because it's not like like you said, because it's COVID. It's tough to do that stuff, but we're gonna definitely see more of it, and you'll love to hear about it, 100%. Moving on, we just got some, just a little quick debrief. Marist softball played Albany. They split the series. This was earlier this week, and they are gonna play Niagara this weekend, weekend of April 2nd.
Birthday weekend.
There we go. Oh, okay. An Aries, a fellow Aries.
Oh, yeah, he knows.
Yeah,
Aries gang.
March 22nd. If you didn't know, put it on the calendar for next podcast, next year. So, what day? I'm gonna give you a shout out. 3rd. All right, there we go. Everyone, they're actually playing Canisius on April 3rd. I guess they're doing 2 double headers, which I didn't know they did that.
Birthday treat.
Yeah, maybe pop out to a Women's Lacrosse game.
Yeah.
Or sorry, softball game while you're at it.
Softball. Yeah, they lacrosse too. They play on Saturday.
Yep. And then on the men's side, lacrosse, who has been struggling, but they picked a win against Siena on the 26th. And I think it looks like all these teams are starting to play more MAAC.
They're all heading into the MAAC schedules at this point.
April, we talked about this before too. April is going to be a fun month. We are excited to give you some really good content about MAAC opponents, and we're going to be covering we'll be covering softball, baseball, and both lacrosse, etc. So
now that basketball's done, we're
going to full gear. We're gonna try to hit most of these Marist sports, all these
water polo. Hopefully, I want to catch a water polo.
I'll go to a tennis game. We're gonna hit these up. Yeah, we really want to show good representation for all these sports. Because for a small D1 school, we got a really good community. So, but let's wrap up this final segment. We're just gonna, it's been 3 weeks. We got some articles we want to tell you guys about.
You got some articles, man.
We talk about this guy every podcast, and we already mentioned him. You already know. Jonathan, stop doing it to them. Part 2?
Stop writing.
Yeah.
Give up on writing. Give up your career.
Yeah. Save some for the rest of us. Part 2 of his series about the golden age of Marist basketball. Must read if you read the first one, and must read if you didn't read the first one.
I'm sorry. I have some beef with Jonathan.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you kind of had it coming.
So, no. Hold on. So, on March 30th to Wednesdays are when we meet for center field. Designated center field meeting day, 11 a.m. Also at 11 a.m., Leander messaged us asking if we wanted to attend a teaching demo for his professor. I was like,
being the brave soul you are,
I wanted to help out. I
also
wanted a free lunch.
There's Rossi's. Did they have Rossi's there?
No, they didn't have Rossi's.
I went,
they did have wraps, they had chips, they had cookies.
See, the time I went, they had Rossi's, and I don't think it was during a meeting, so giddy up. I mean, I had a chicken cutlet. It was delicious. I respect the free food grind, and you got banned from a meeting. Suspended.
I popped my head in before, and he wasn't there, and then he just came in the room and he said, "Get out. You don't belong here."
I hope that didn't ruin our chances of getting back on the pod.
I don't want to see his face again.
Okay, well, maybe it did. So, just things happen in this industry. It's a competitive industry. It's tough. Jonathan, if you're hearing this, Andrew has some words for you.
More than words.
But we're gonna more than words. But we gotta keep this a PG podcast, so we're gonna keep moving on.
We love you. This is a bit. Come on.
We already talked about his transfer portal article. You gotta check out his Golden Age of Marist Basketball Part 2.
Oh yeah, Part 2 came out. Yep.
He got some great, some great reporting. Really took some deep dives. Got stuff from the Poughkeepsie Journal. He's got stuff from old coaches, etc. It's a really great read. I'm not going to spoil it because, if you read this first piece, that he's getting, interviews from Tim Murray and, people that are tied to this story that matter. Please check it out if you are interested in Marist sports.
Former writers for the Circle who covered his team.
Another thing I wanted to mention that Jonathan reported on, our basketball coach got a contract extension done, which we didn't talk about. It happened. Briefly. Yeah, to mention it briefly, it happened around the same time as the transfers were happening. I think it happened
same day as Zhao's transfer announcement.
No,
and Sele.
I think it was Sullivan. Yeah, Sullivan.
I thought it was Zhao and Sele.
Zhao was a couple days ago. So.
No, yeah, but I thought.
Oh, really? Anyways, it happened during some of the transfers. It's not often you see mid-major coaches signed for this long. So
yeah, Zhao and Sele, sorry.
Yeah, and Dunn's from St. Peter's. I think he was on St. He was a 12-year tenure for some St. Peter's.
For a while.
Yeah, so he's definitely looking to stay for this program. I hope that his willingness to stay is going to bring in some really good recruits because obviously he's been around the block. So yeah, but Jonathan wrote on that. If you want to read a quick little blurb from our athletic director Tim Murray, and yeah, and then there's another story that I know you wanted to mention.
A few more. I want to just we can't end this without talking about the mascot March Madness.
Some of the best writing on the site.
This is just high class journalism. Embrace debate, as some might say. They took all the mascots in the MAAC and put them in a bracket, pitted them against each other, and they eventually, at the end, once and for all, chose the best mascot. And I still don't quite get if it's for intimidation factor or just in terms of coolness.
It's just kind of picking, it's just a very opinion, who you got, who's going to show up, which mascot's going to show up and get this crowd riled,
Let me tell you, my personal opinion.
Let's hear it.
Shooter.
Great pick.
Shooter.
That's a great pick.
Shooter.
It's funny because I have been paying a lot of attention to mascots this year, especially not just for the MAAC, the tournament. So I looked up a list and there was like a whole Bleacher Report list of like the top 50 mascots. I was like, Jesus, like someone's getting paid serious money to make an article about the mascots. The St. Peter's Peacock was top 10 in the whole tournament. Now, this is before they won anything, so I was like, man, that put the MAAC is on the map.
The MAAC is on the map.
The MAAC is on the map.
They're in a Bleacher Report article. The MAAC is on the map.
I don't know if the upset was appropriate in this bracket, but I get it. It was a good. I think Mackenzie had this upset against the Griffins, so It's how you make it. It's just how the cookie crumbles in this center field writing. My personal NCAA mascot favorites, Webster from Richmond, the Richmond Spiders.
Oh yeah,
Dude was like a ripped, buff, steroid taking spider.
Arachnid.
Oh, yeah, Arachnid, yeah. Great mascot. Got the Richmond Spiders riled up when they upset that 5 seed. It wasn't UConn. I forget who it was, but they got them riled up. And then Akron has the weirdest looking mascot ever. Zippy. It's a kangaroo. It looks like, it's scary. It's got this scary presence. I recommend looking it up. But if you like mascots, read this article because, you got some great writers, the top center field writers putting in their 2 cents.
My personal favorite mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Little Otto. Love me some classic Otto the Orange from Syracuse.
Wow. It's a great mascot. I'm not
catering to the guy who suspended me.
Yeah.
This past week.
No, it's a good mascot. All the unconventional ones are just so funny. They're so fun. Like they're just like so good. Like like an orange or a Buckeye or the Richmond Spider.
It doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, Spider is the only the Richmond Spider is the only Spider team and at the D1. So, yeah, another great article. We had some great writing on the site, and we're gonna continue to deliver.
And speaking of great writing, I don't want to end this without shouting you out. Who
Andrew
after our last episode posted a feature on Nurse Professor Bailey Carlin.
Man,
social media guru Bailey Carlin.
Man, oh man! First off, thank you. It means a lot coming from my co-host, someone who maybe challenges my opinions sometimes, but is my co-host, ride or die. I had a really fun time with this piece. This might have been my favorite piece I've written. Bailey, if you're listening, shout out Bailey, great guy. If you're on campus, meet him. You don't have to talk about sports. He's got a hand in some of the biggest faces on all of social media. It's actually incredible. He's from this area. He's actually grew up in the Hudson Valley area.
Arlington High School.
Yeah.
Literally 5 minutes from Marist.
Yeah, exactly. Did some time at Barstool, did some time at the XFL, did some time at Sports Illustrated. And if you got a chance, meet him. He's a really interesting guy. He's got great perspective on social media. So,
Bailey's dad, I know him as Mr. Carlin.
You told me this.
I went to Putnam Valley Middle School. I'm from Putnam Valley, New York, and Putnam Valley Middle School is where Carlin taught. I never had Mr. Carlin as a teacher. In fact, I bet he doesn't even know my name.
But he was there.
He was there. Bailey's dad taught at my school for a long time. He recently retired. So shout out Mr. Carlin.
Yep, the MAAC is on the mini map. So
there you go.
Well, if you have time, I'd appreciate a read. It was a fun piece to do. That's all I got to say. Check it out. So, alrighty, that does it for us. It's 10 p.m. on a Thursday night. We got a big weekend coming up. I am getting, in 2 hours, MLB The Show comes out. I got the pre-order, so I'm going to be.
Dude, are we going to play?
Yeah, of course. Co-op, the new online co-op.
Are you going to play co-op?
Of course. That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
You got to message me.
100%.
We'll get Ramos on, too.
Ramos. Shout out Ramos. We're going to get him on a pod. It's going to be probably the most mind-blowing pod.
It's good. When we have Ramos on, it's going to be our best episode. By far.
It's a no-brainer. We'll call it the Ramos episode. So.
The Ramos episode. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
We have it set, written in stone.
Yep. Yeah. So, and we got baseball next week. I'm really pumped to see the Yankees be a 4th place team. So.
Well, I'm really pumped to see the Red Sox be a 5th place team.
Oh, that's good. Really, really banking high on the Adley Rutschman there.
I'm banking high on Adley Rutschman, Francisco.
Yep.
Whoever's starting a catcher.
I don't know. It's not Pedro Severino anymore. He's long
Actually,
gone.
Chance
But
Cisco's gone.
yeah, exactly. So
I think he's gone.
yeah, we got excited, but we're gonna have so many Marist sports stories for you. We hope to talk about most of them on this pod in let's say 2 weeks time.
Next week's a loaded week.
It's a loaded week, so pay attention to these spring sports. They're
and support.
A lot of excitement. And as this weather gets warm, you're gonna see a lot of people out there on the fields.
Oh yeah.
So, Andrew, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, my friend. And
have a wonderful night. See you on the show.
See you in the show.
The MAAC is on the map.
Is that how we're ending this? See you in the show?
No, we can't. We can't.
We can't.
Okay, sorry. That was bad. I'll say, Andrew, have a good night, and the MAAC is on the map. How about that?
Fair. We'll take
Okay,
that.
ready?
We'll take that. Right. This is all staying in, by the way.
Oh.
I'm not cutting this.
Oh, man. Okay, ready? Well, the MAAC is on the map, Andrew. Have a good night.
MAAC is on the map. Good night, guys.